So I thought, but what happened was I took the longest to adjust.
Okay.
It took me almost 2.5 years to adjust.
Wow.
Okay. So and it was mainly because of the fact that I'm a very organized person.
Yeah.
Especially, right? I think the love he has for his grandma and his grandparents, right? We could never have that in the US, right? For him, it will be like, oh, they come, they play, they everything. But now his mom is like so happy always to have him around. So we every weekend we'll go and he'll be like, grandma, give me this. People complain about cleanliness and the pollution and all, but I felt I had more issues in US than here. Can you believe that? Though there is no pollution, there are some agents in the the how US is, right? I had a sand allergy to US beaches. So
Really?
it was, yeah. And I don't have.
Yes. I never spent, I had a team there,
Yeah.
but I probably spent 5% in people management.
Yeah.
And here I spent 50% in people management. Like somebody's mom died, somebody fell down, somebody's pet.
And I think their family relationship also, right? Many of the women have a difficult in-laws, right? So forcing them to stay with them or we do have fun. Here, still, even if you are in an expensive locality and everything, the women focus and the ideas and the discussion is more around gossips and, kids and the husband. I think the equality that we have in US does not exist here. Still, women are lower hand, and I think that part mostly women get affected most when they come here, right? Because they have to again be the
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Desi Return. Today, we have Radhika and Venkat on our show. Both Radhika and Venkat spent close to 14 years. I know Radhika joined Venkat a little later. After staying for 14 years in US, they decided to move back to India. And they have been living in India for close to 6 years. And they have seen pretty much, most of it, I think, in the last 6 years. So I'm really looking forward to the discussion in terms of how the life is in India and what made them to move back to India and so on. With that, welcome Radhika and Venkat to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Avinash.
Great. So let's start a bit with your background and what made you to move to US.
I think for me, it was just because we both were not at the time when we moved to US, he had different plans, I had different plans. We were not married at that point of time. So I basically moved because I got an opportunity exactly during the recession period, that is around 2009, where there was a client requirement in Wisconsin. So Wipro basically processed my H1 without any, it was very, very lucky because I got it without any lottery or anything. So I moved there. That's my end of the story. For Venkat, he can briefly describe what he wanted to do.
Yeah. So my father always wanted to go abroad to study, but he couldn't. So he kind of put that seed in my head that I should go and do my master's. So after I did my bachelor's in Mumbai, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. So after I did my bachelor's in Mumbai, I did the same normal GRE, GMAT route. Got into Arizona State University to do my master's in mechanical engineering. So I went there to study. Did that for 2.5 years. Got my MS in mechanical engineering, and then I started working. I started working in Phoenix.
Got it. So how was the life in US? You've been there for 14 years. I think for you, went in 2004. And how was the life and what made the triggering points to think about moving back to India?
So I'll start, right? For me, the moment I landed, I had a big shock when I started the US. I went to Arizona and Phoenix, right? And I went from Mumbai, which is always noisy, to a very, very silent place, right? And that was interesting. But I had a good life there, right? And before marriage, I really enjoyed the US. So when I was there, I really enjoyed it. I was not there to uh, make money. I was not there to build a career. I was enjoying every single moment that I was there
Yeah.
to enjoy what America has to offer, which is like natural beauty. I played a lot of cricket in Arizona every single day, made a lot of good friends. I bought a fast motorcycle, which I had for 5 years, which I rode, the big highways of Arizona. So
Yeah.
I had a really good life before, and I really enjoyed America for what it is, right,
Yeah.
and what it had to offer. Then after marriage, it got even better because we both of us had similar interests of traveling. She likes national parks a lot,
Yeah.
so we enjoyed a lot at that time, right? And one of the things when we got married, so I was an arranged marriage, so I was obviously looking for girls, and my point was very simple: boss, I want to go back, right? It was very simple. So it was a very clear cut requirement for me, and there are a couple of relationship that did work because they didn't want to come back and I wanted to. She
Yeah.
was like, yeah, let's go back. But she made sure, boss, like I came, we got married in 2012. She had just come in 2019. It's like, Venkat, give me 5 years.
Yeah.
I want to go to these national parks. I want to enjoy it. She wanted to go. And so we sort of planned around that, right?
Yes,
So, but
we did not have a definite date in mind, but at the
Sure.
same time, we had this thing that, we don't want to go too late that our parents or anybody, actually, it was not, the decision point was not our parents. I will put it this way that we always had this lingering in our mind that we have to go back. And there are times, like I think the decision took more stronger hold as soon as our son was born.
Okay.
Right. So basically, because it was, they, when kids are in US, right, they don't have the family, they don't have the company. So they even treat their own grandparents like an alien for a few days, right? They feel, who is this person and why I'm suddenly supposed to interact with them, right? So the love that they get from grandparents, right, that is like, that's so totally different. So
Yeah.
to even come back to the point, I mean, for me, it was like green pastures, right? I always like everything, in a career, I'm getting opportunity as a 3 year old in a company to go to US. I was like, let's try. I don't have any idea how US is. Never did I do a research on what is a bad area, good area, nothing. I just landed like a new person, but
Yeah.
I was always different from the crowd around my, people like in, so the how Indian emigrate to US more generically is that, they will want to save more money, right? So they will have a little lower than modern life. I mean, they wouldn't buy great cars or, have a good apartment. They will save on those $100, $200 here and there. I was not like that. So I spent my whole salary on buying cars and, living in a very good apartment and things like that. So that's how I was.
Yeah.
And that sort of aligned with me also, right? So I was there. I was like, if I have to live, if I had to go to the US and I had to live in a substandard apartment and dive, nothing against people who buy Toyota
Sure.
Corollas, right? Not or Marutis, right? If I had to do that, I would do it here. I could have afforded that here. So what both of us did was let us enjoy our lives when we were in the US. So as soon as we got married, we got a BMW. We took it around. We went to places. We would stay in 5-star hotels in Vegas. We would go to the national parks, eat in the nicest hotels, right? We really, really enjoyed our time, right?
Okay.
So, but because of that, sometimes we didn't gel with the traditional Indian community in many places, right? Like we would not be able to go with, and that was one of the reasons of coming back is we didn't form strong ties with people, right? The people we formed strong ties were people who were mostly a little bit like people who were grown up in US, who were, a little more modern in that sense. We would not grow with group trips and all. So our life in general, just to sum up, it was very nice, very lavish,
Yeah.
right? And we really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So just curious, sounds like I think you always had the plan to move back to India,
Yes.
from the beginning. Is there any particular reason, or it's just that something you always just curious on that? Yeah.
So for me, right, my dad, I always wanted to come back when I went. I'm little idealistic. Okay, I'm a Sagittarius. I am idealistic. So like a lot of the stuff I say it's very, what do you say, not grounded in reality. It's from day one I wanted to come back.
Yeah.
Then what happened was that I couldn't come back because my dad was not in good health. So I had to stay back. So he had some diabetes complication. My brother was not working. My mother was a housewife. So I had to give money. So I still kept sending money, like, even at that time, like $500 to $1,000 was more than enough to take, like, was a lot more money than I could even make,
Yeah.
in the whole year.
Yeah.
Right. So I was doing that. Then my dad passed away in 2010. Right. And then I was like, I wanted to come back, but then to stay with my mom and a brother, right? Just kind of, I was losing touch because I didn't. So one of the things that happened when I first went to the US because of this financial challenge, right? I didn't come back to India for 3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Right. So in 2004, I came only 2008, I came. 2004,
Okay.
August 7, 2008 only I came back for the first time. Right. At that time, my brother had finished his education only. Like he went into college and finished. You can think, right? He went to
Yes.
freshman and he came.
Such a,
So he had changed completely.
Yeah.
And my brother and my dad has become old. So I also want to come back, right? So, but then afterwards, what happened as we started spending time and we were spending, when my kid was growing, didn't have, people started having kids, they were having their own lifestyles. And I started losing the number of things. I never felt at home, right? I never felt like every weekend, Saturday, I have to plan something, like, put kids in a class, take them somewhere, right? Then how do I teach them culture, right?
Yeah.
Should I teach them culture? I'm not a very culturally close person. Should I teach them? Should I not teach them, right? So that things came up and it was, I also want to come back. It was very simple at that point of time that we are always thinking, yeah, what to do, right?
Sure.
So I think the other thing is that when we were married, right? We married. We got married in 2012. So after that, I had certain bucket list items, right? I wanted to go around Europe, do some adventurous stuff, and so we were never like thinking about kids or moving back to India at that point of time. That so we always had a discussion that we'll go back, but it was not an active discussion.
Yeah.
Soon we got married. So then it was more like, okay, his brother is getting married. Let's go and take care of that responsibility. Yeah. And then come back. And then we had a kid. He was also at the same time going to UCLA. So the idea, I think it became more stronger when he went to UCLA because we wanted him to, the work line that he is in US, he wanted to see if there are more areas where he can work so that it will be easier for us to return to India. That is where I think that seed was put in. Okay, let's try. What do we do next? And one of the things I think we kind of solidified on was that when he finishes his MBA, we will try more seriously, to think about coming to India. And for me, at least, the major factor is my son.
Yeah.
I felt he was alone, right? One kid, the whole loneliness, whatever. And plus, I think we are not that social people, right? We don't, even people invite us. We are not a snob, but at the same time, we like our convenience. We are a bit, so it doesn't happen so easily that we interact with people. So it was becoming difficult because not many people were near our neighborhood also.
Yeah.
So our neighborhood was mostly, Afro-Americans.
Afro-Americans. And we stayed very close to the ocean in LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? We didn't stay in an Indian community. We stayed where we were like, I'm in LA, let me stay close to the ocean. So we would go to the ocean in 5 minutes cycling, I would be at the water.
Yes.
Right? So we stayed in those areas. So we couldn't find a strong community. So it was sort of that, plus we wanted to go back.
Yeah.
And when the kid was born, it was even stronger, right? We just my parents came a couple of times, right? And every time we would come back to India,
yeah.
Right? It would be really bad, right? It was like we were not waiting to come back.
Yeah.
Right. So
got it. So sounds like I think 2018 is when you actually moved. So I know you mentioned I think it's the kid, after he was born. I think that kind of helped in accelerating.
It was the straw that broke the camel's back. Let's just put it that way. Because I don't say we want to come because of it. We always wanted to come back. But when that happened, it was like, now it does make sense, right? It was 18 months.
Yeah, from an idea to action. I think, just now it's kind of solidified and you just wanted to act on it, for example. So if we can talk a little bit about the planning. So when did you start planning about the move? I think you kind of gave an idea. I think after completing the MBA, you want to explore the options. So maybe if we can touch on the career side, financial side, I think that would be very helpful. Yeah.
So one thing, what we did was, our planning started as soon as you got married. Okay. So, because she said she had a bucket list that she said, I want to do. So she's like, I want to see these different places, right? She said, I want to do a Euro trip. So both of us had just started our careers at that point of not making that much money, right? And so we slaved our input for 3 years, and after 3 years, we did a Euro trip. Like we went to Switzerland and Czech Republic, Italy, and Amsterdam. We did a 2 week trip during that time. So we planned out on that. So we finished that checklist first. But and she was very clear because I have never worked in India. She had worked in India. She's like, boss, if you want to work in India, we need X money, right? And to get that X money, if you want to live, you cannot start as you have to come as a manager, as a leader. For that, you need an MBA. So she herself signed me up for the UCLA orientation program and took me one day in 2015. She only, and we went in San Diego that time. She took me like, boss, you come, you have to do an MBA. And our theory at that time, which was not actually proven completely right, was that I will find hard to get a job and hers will be very easy because she's in IT.
Yeah.
India has a lot of IT, you will find. So that's how we started planning. So it actually started planning 2015. So as soon as the MBA, we knew we were going, and we knew 2018 we are going to leave. So we knew it was a 2.5, 3 year program.
Okay.
Right? So we knew we were going to go. So that's how we started planning. So ever since then we started talking.
Yeah.
Every day we started. And for us, right, everything happens. Like I'm a planner. My job is planning. I do master planning for work. I plan cities. I plan water systems. I plan wastewater systems. So my job is planning.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. So I planned around all that stuff, and then we started thinking. So and we said, Venkat, you look for your work. They're like, I will find work. So from that day, I started, and then at the same year, we acquired a company which had a big presence in India. My company, own company.
Yeah.
So I then said, boss, I want to work with the guys in India. I told my boss in one day, and it happened. Okay.
Yeah.
So because it happened, so we started connecting, and then I had a job, and then 1 year I worked with them. I liked the work that has been happening. And the other thing that I did was, and this was all my planning, because she knew she will get a job. So she didn't do anything from her side to specifically plan for her work.
Yeah.
So it was me on the planning side. So what we 2017, in India, we have an Arcadis, a company that I work for. We have an exchange program where you can come. People go to different countries. I came to India.
Yeah.
As an exchange program. So through that company, they funded me to come to India. I went to 2 offices. I figured out the kind of work I want to. I met the people. Boss, 2018, I am coming. So you have a role for me. So we did all that stuff. And then once my career, 2018 starting, when this thing started ending, right? My
MBA.
I started looking at all the companies that are in my industry, which are offices in India.
Yeah.
Right. And then I started, and during the 2017 trip, I interviewed at 3 places when I'd come here and met 3 different companies, all in my career, same type of job. And I said, whoever offers me first, I will come.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way of I was planning. And in the end, she was mentally planning.
Got it.
Like, we have to go.
So you kind of
the point was for us, the factor was if he gets the job, we are moving.
Yeah.
I will go and settle down, and after 3 months, I'll find a job. I know that. I did try to interview in US, but I don't know it is the same case now or not. But at that point of time, unless you have an Indian phone number, right, they don't schedule a interview, or I get hardly any calls unless there is a referral.
Yeah.
So even when I moved, I did not have any reference per se. So I had to basically go and interview. And the other part is deciding the location, right? So we always had in mind that we had 3 locations. One is Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai. Because Chennai, my parents live. Bombay, his parents live. And Delhi, I have lived before. And that is where his Arcadis India company was. But I was strictly against going to Delhi, also Chennai for some reasons. So we decided that when we move, we'll move to Mumbai. So Mumbai IT, yes, it is there, but it's not like to the extent you have it in Bangalore or Chennai.
Yeah.
So it took me some time. Yeah, or Hyderabad. Yeah, sorry. Yes, all 3 have better, lay of land and more product companies. That's another thing.
Yes.
See, the other problem, everybody scares you, right? That if you come from US to India, the work culture sucks. You will be eaten into it. You will not have your personal time. So, especially when you have a kid and I had a very good flexibility in US, the company. I hardly worked till 5 p.m. and then I was, done for the day. So these questions were there, but we decided that, okay, we will take up only certain positions and we will clearly define that we need that flexibility, right?
Yeah.
So I think many people are afraid to tell that to the employer, right? I feel that happens in many cases. So for us, it was like that. For him, he also, I think he can continue how he moved to that particular company. And yeah, then
But I
I
think
had come. Yeah.
But the
I think you
planning,
mentioned up a very good point in the sense that be upfront with the employer about your expectations, and then also with the product companies, things have evolved or changed in terms of the work culture. Yeah, just one.
and be realistic. I think we might get into that point afterwards, right?
Yes.
The other things of logistical planning, now that was very simple, okay. For us, like when to get like buy the car, and we didn't buy a house, okay. That was another part of the planning.
Yeah.
In the US. Actually, in hindsight, it might
Yeah.
not have been the right option, but we didn't buy it. Okay, that and
Yeah.
I didn't have, and the other reason was Trump winning was also a reason because my green card was not coming because my company got acquired multiple times. My green card never came
Got
when
it.
I was in the US.
Yeah.
Right. I was in the same company only, but
Yeah.
they changed brands, and every time you have to refile the new name, right, in the same place. So it didn't come. And then Trump came, I was like, boss, it's not going to happen. So that was another trigger.
Yeah. Cool. I think you mentioned about on the financial side, there is a certain amount, I think that might be, better to have as a corpus fund before the move. Is there anything that you can talk on that side? Yeah.
Oh, we are very bad on that front door. Like we had no idea on corpus. Okay, my only corpus that I have in the US is my 401k, which we have not moved.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not save money. I had some cash that we kept, like that we still have, which we are already spending more of right now. So as I said, we really enjoyed. So
Got it.
so our job was not like creating a corpus that was never in our heads. So
Yeah.
we did standard investing, like we invested when we wanted to go to Europe. So we had a really lavish trip in Europe. Like we didn't spend anything. When you go to Vegas, you will live in the best hotel. So I didn't have any corpus in that shit. The only thing we had in mind when we come to India was that I need certain amount of money as a salary to maintain lifestyle
Got it.
in Mumbai.
Yeah.
That I had in mind. How
Got
much
it.
to ask.
Yeah.
Right. So that we had in mind. But
Cool.
not so right now, yeah, no corpus, nothing. We didn't bring back any money. We didn't invest anything. Everything we built now is the last 5-6 years.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah. So for us, it was more like, convenience is more important. Like we had a nanny, for example, for our son, instead of putting him in a daycare or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? So we spent on those things like getting a maid to do the work, cleaning.
Yeah.
Right. It is people do it, but we had more frequency, right? People coming in, cleaning, frequently. And so those kind of things builds up, in your bills and things like that. So saving was never like the first thing on the agenda. It's not as to the extent others do.
We don't think.
Yeah.
And to be very clear, Avinash, to your business, that we don't come from very rich families. Okay?
Yeah.
We don't come. My dad was a normal worker. His last salary was like 8,000 rupees before he passed away. Radhika's father has been in the real estate industry and has gone up and down, and both of them are not even graduates, right? So we
Yes,
don't
yes.
come from big background. I'm a housekeeper.
Yeah.
They have one house, we have one. We had one house, right? So it's
Yeah.
not that because we had a lot of money in India, we came with nothing. It was just the concept that we really want to enjoy the US for what it is.
Yes.
We came.
I think it's a lifestyle that you want to have.
Correct.
I know the
Exactly.
spend. Yeah, makes sense.
Exactly.
So how is the life in India? It's been close to 6 years. How maybe you can tell me like how it's been like over the 6-year period and what you expected and how it went and so on.
So I'll start you at, okay? When I came, my thought was, I will adjust the fastest. I am very adjusting. I
Yeah.
will adjust the fastest. My son will have a problem. Radhika will have a problem because my mom is here. And so we decided one thing. We will stay close to our work,
Yeah.
right? And not stay with our parents,
Yeah.
with my mom. My mom lives in Thane. And my work was in Vikhroli, in Mumbai. So we stayed in near Powai. And so her office, she's going to anyways find work. Initially, we stayed with our parents for like my mom for 3 months.
Yeah.
Or so, right? So I thought, but what happened was I took the longest to adjust.
Okay.
It took me almost 2.5 years to adjust.
Wow.
So and it was mainly because of the fact that I'm a very organized person.
Yeah.
And India is not organized.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you stay in Powai, where you have a lot of people coming from abroad, in this area, where the services are better than most places, I still had a challenge of adjusting. It was the simple things, okay, nothing major of that stuff that small irritating stuff, right? You'll call a driver at one time, he'll come half an hour late. You call a plumber, he will come 1 hour late. maid will come in, suddenly she'll come and I got sick. Then you have to cook, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff, right? Yeah. That time you had to go to the bank for everything.
Yeah.
Right? 2018, I'm talking, right? Now you
Sure.
don't have to, right? So those kinds of things. But my son adjusted very fast.
Yeah.
He was the fastest to adjust.
How
When
old
we
was
put,
he? Sorry.
He was 18 months.
18 months. Okay, very
18 months. Right. So when we came, we put him in daycare first month itself because she has to search for a job. And I took 3 months break, okay, when I came to India. That was planned. So
Yeah.
we came in October. I said I will not join till December.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took a 3-month break because I wanted that adjustment. She was looking for a job. So we put him in daycare. He adjusted the fastest. And she also adjusted very well. I was not surprised because she had never stayed with my mom and my brother. No? So I
Yeah.
thought that'd be a challenge, but she adjusted very fast.
Yeah.
But good part, the other part that affected me was when I transferred to India.
Mhm.
I was going to transfer to my own company, but they didn't offer me at that point of time.
Got it.
So I actually transferred with a competitor of ours.
Okay.
Okay, but the same field, they said, Venkat, form a unit for us in India. So I came through that. And that was a change for me.
Hmm.
And they were not the company for them, because when I had come to India, my company culture in India, the current the company I was working then, and India was the same.
Yeah.
But so I was like, other companies also be like this because their culture, the person who hired me there was my ex-colleague.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought it would be the same here, but here was very different. Right? So I used to work for US clients, so I had to work in the evening. This guy is like, stay 9 to 5 at the office. My boss was. I'm like, this is not happening because I have to again work for 3 hours at night. I have to
Yeah.
leave early to manage all that time, right? Working in India, you understand that you have to be flexible if you work in other countries, right? So that happened. So that also took a toll on me because I was not enjoying my work.
Yeah.
Right. So the first year that was a challenge. But luckily, my current boss, who is the same company, called me and said, boss, you want to come back?
Yeah.
I got promoted, you want to my job.
Yeah.
So then I took that job. And after that, it's been good. So that work part was taken care of, right? And then COVID happened. 2019, I joined that job. 2020, COVID happened. Then I don't know where the 2.5 years went, right? But to be frank, it would have been help for me personally if I was in the US at that time.
During the COVID time.
During the COVID time. Because I knew my mom was okay. I could tell her, mom, wear a mask.
Yeah.
Right? Don't go outside. If you need something, I will get you.
Yeah.
Right? Every time there would be a lock. So our building is a very complex building. Like 4 or 5 towers are there. So they used to have, like, follow rules properly. If there are 2 people who got COVID, they would lock down the whole building.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but my mom is in a single standalone building, so no rules like that.
Yeah.
So every time there used to be a lockdown here, I used to run to my mom's house before they used to lock down.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was there, I was able to help her.
Yeah.
Right. Then I used to took her to vaccinations, stand in line when it first came, right? She helped her mom in Chennai get this thing. So that way, over time, we got adjusted. And I think living in Powai really helped.
Yeah.
Because
Depends on the area.
Right? If you had changed Thane, where my mom is, we might have had a challenge because in Powai schools are good. We have a lot of people who have gone abroad. So the help you get, the services you get, they expect the boss, they will charge you a bit more, like, milk might be 70 to 75, right? But they know I cannot miss it.
Yeah.
Because these guys expect that level of service.
Yeah.
Right. So that was very helpful for me. But then after 2.5 years or so, it was great. So I think we've just got strength on strength after that.
For me, right, again, I was not very happy in my last job in US.
Yeah.
I was just waiting to switch, but then we had this whole plan of coming back to India and reprocessing the H1 for every damn thing is like, it's a difficult thing. So for me, coming to India was like an escape from working in that particular job. But at the same time, I realized that I have to be very clear on the expectation with any company. And I have worked with like a total Gujju company also where, people, they check out your lunch hours also, that kind of people. And I currently I work in a completely different multinational also. But the point is, as I put forward again, I was very clear. See, I will get your job done, but just don't ask me, when are you coming? When are you going?
Sure.
Those kind of questions, please refrain from asking me. And people at first take a pause when you say those things, right? But when they see that you are committed to what you're doing, then they are okay with that.
Yeah.
And for my son especially, right, I think the love he has for his grandma and his grandparents, right, we could never have that in US, right? For him, it will be like, oh, they come, they play, they everything. But now his mom is like so happy always to have him around. So we every weekend we'll go and he'll be like, grandma gave me this, grandma gave me that. So that whole pampering, right? I mean,
Yes.
no kid should ever not experience that. I'll put it this way.
Yeah.
So and another thing, Avinash, we do go to US every year.
Yeah.
But I don't miss even a single day of, it feels good for the first 4 days. Wow, what a calm, what a silence. And then I'm like, no, I need that sound.
Yeah.
I need to be around people. And everything, right? Like India has become, at least for me at this point of time, right? Anything I want, I get it. Whether it is the type of doctor or getting to the doctor, getting to the appointment, getting things done. People complain about cleanliness and the pollution and all, but I felt I had more issues in US than here. Can you believe that? Though there is no pollution, there are some agents in the the how US is, right? I had a sand allergy to US beaches. So it
Really?
was, yeah, and I don't have any allergies in India, right? Per se.
Yeah.
So I think we are still good, healthy, and thriving. And in India, right, if you don't find one option, there is always a second option for everything, right? Like you have the flexibility. If I don't like a job, I can quit and sit, and I can switch over. This is only for H1B folks, right? Like
Yeah.
you have this thing. Oh my God, if I lose the job, I mean, it's a very tough thing there.
Yeah.
And the kind of things that are happening, and this whole woke culture, right? I have a problem with woke culture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the other part, right? I think I went in 2004. You probably went in 2003, 2005, some that range, right? I don't know, but I saw drastic change in the US between that and 2018.
Yeah.
It's very different. Like I went to Arizona, which is supposed to be a red state, right? Not
Yes.
supposed for immigrants and stuff. That was so welcoming. Like, people are so nice to me. Like, like when I first went, obviously, like, you probably also gone through that, right? I got into families where they would invite you for Thanksgiving and Halloween and, and you become part of a family. Like every year you get invited those things. And then slowly that when it started getting eroded, it was very different at that time, right? And it felt very different. So yeah, I think all of that said, right? I think all of us really we loved India. I think one of the biggest things I would suggest to anybody is, right, work is the biggest thing. I think that is one big thing I'm
yes,
clear about. You need to be really getting the right work and what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? And work here is very different than in the US. Very different. Right? In the US, I never spent, I had a team there,
Yeah.
but I probably spent 5% in people management.
Yeah.
And here I spent 50% in people management. Like somebody's mom died, somebody fell down, somebody's pet electrician come, some lady didn't come. Half the time I have to do that to motivate them to do everything. There you give the work, it gets done.
Yeah.
I think for people, they really need to know what they're expecting from work, right? What do they want? They will not get everything.
Yeah.
Right? My point was, what if they pay me, I will figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? And I had a certain number in my head, and I did my research on that: how much you can get, how much you cannot get.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Got
for
it.
us, yeah, about maintaining lifestyle, what we had in the US, not see, we had a good lifestyle. I wouldn't call it lavish, but yes, we didn't save any money. But at the same time, in Mumbai also, we wanted to make sure that we are able to afford. The whole reason we are coming to Mumbai is that we get an extra support, right? We live in a place where the community is good. We get good mates so that we can focus on our child than doing all those miscellaneous tasks at home. So those things initially, again, there is a misconception that you will get time, but you don't. Even managing that maid becomes like a time consuming task. Sometimes you feel, okay, let my son grow up to 10, I will just, basically remove all the maid. You are coming back to.
That is one thing in India that I find challenging. Is that I remember in the US, even though we did all our dishes and we cooked every single day, we had time on the weekends. Like Saturday, we would do dishes, we would do laundry, we would do shopping. And Sunday, we were like, "Kya karta hai subah?" And that was irritating. Like, what? But here, we don't seem to have our weekends.
Yeah.
Because it was away with family or something happened. Like last weekend, my sister is going to the US to study. We had gone to see her. My company kept an event on Saturday. So, gaya went Saturday weekend. that is one thing I do miss personally. I do like some of my alone time that I don't get. And that also irked me a lot.
It's that way. And yes, companies especially, right, work culture, many people still like to close their laptop at 5, which will not happen here.
Yes.
That I will definitely tell you. You can dream about it in a product company, probably it might happen, but if you are in a consulting space, right, like we both are in that sort of a region. After COVID, there is a lot of difference in the work culture in India. People are demanding work-life balance like anything, even the juniors, right? So there is definitely people are understanding about your flexibility, but it doesn't mean that you can finish your work at 5, because essentially you are still working in the outsourcing sort of a model where you work with Europeans or Americans.
If you have to make the money.
Yeah,
that's the only place. Like if you go to say Reliance or Tata's, right? You will not get paid that you want to get paid. They pay you Indian salaries. That is another thing when you're coming to India. Either come to startups, right, where they pay you and you have ESOPs, or come to multinationals, which are, and you can work for a global client so that you technically get paid in dollars or euros or pounds, and you get paid in dollars.
Got it. I think the key thing is to underline and understand the work culture difference. I know it's evolved, but you still feel there is a big difference in terms of the work culture, the style, even the people management and so on. And people have to have the true understanding of what to expect, from a career perspective with the move. Thank you.
And the other thing is people, if they are very technical, like in IT field, right, if they are working for something groundbreaking, right? You won't get that in India unless that company itself nominates you to do that in India. You understand that? So there is always this backseat work that you are doing still. I know that many companies now have their own product arm in India, but are they doing essentially the breakthrough stuff? Not really sure, right? That I do not have much information on, but I don't also see a lot of people coming from that, right? So for example, in the company I work, they are always trying to hire Gen AI engineers, but we did not groom any Gen AI engineers to get the work. So it automatically goes to US, that work goes to US. So that way, if somebody is in, suppose, science field, right, the biology field, for them also, they don't, at least from a couple of my friends said, they didn't find that work satisfying in India.
Got it.
So the research work is still great in US, and all those breakthrough stuff like blockchain and AI is good. Cloud, yes, cloud is good in India, but anything that requires you to have more research oriented work, it's a bit challenging. Yes, there are companies that are doing it. You have to find your niche. You have to find a way to get into those companies. But I think it is far more easier to do that in US than it is in India.
Makes sense. Got it. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to bring up from your journey that would help future aspirants?
First, if you're coming as a couple, get on the same page. If both of you are not on the same page, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay. There should not be even any element of doubt before you come.
And I think their family relationship also, right? Many of the women have a difficult in-laws, right? So forcing them to stay with them or staying near them or whatever, right? In my case, I'm blessed with a very good mother-in-law, right? I would rather like to stay with her than away from her. It's a different scenario for me. So for me, the decision was very easy because of my mother-in-law, right? If I had a difficult in-laws, I would tell my husband, we will stay 100 kilometers or something away and we will, do these things. But why we decided to stay away also is because we like our home decorated in certain way, things in a certain way. So that's why we chose, not because of any, particular reason that we don't want to stay with any of the parents. We want to be near, but not like strangling them.
Yeah. And if your main reason to come to India is to take care of your parents, most of the time it will fail. Okay.
You will not be happy. I mean,
you won't be happy.
That is for sure. Has to come.
And if you stayed as long as we stayed or you stayed, right, Avinash, your parents, your family has moved on.
Yeah.
They have their own life. Like my mom has his own life in her area. My brother has his own life. My mother-in-law, father-in-law have their own life. My friends have their own life. My best friends have their own life. We don't jive. Like the hardest thing I have found is to make friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I came in the 40s, right? very difficult. You have an ideology, you are little almost rigid in your mindset. You have some beliefs. Sometimes you have to get them. Sometimes in India, meeting in evenings is drinking. I love drinking. I love my scotch, but I don't get drunk.
Yeah.
Right? Like coming from America, you understand, right? People have a drink in the evening, but it is not to get drunk. It's just to socialize, talk about it.
And the other thing about living in US also, right? There is a bit of mentality difference in women, right? We talk about more than managing families and kids.
Yeah.
We hang out, we do have fun. Here, still, even if you are in an expensive locality and everything, the women focus and the ideas and the discussion is more around gossips and, kids and the husband. I think the equality that we have in US does not exist here. Still, women are, lower hand. And I think that part, mostly women get affected most when they come here, right? Because they have to again be follow the traditions, follow them strictly because people are closely observing you now. Mumbai is different, but I think this is one of the reason I didn't move to Chennai because it's too much pressure around relatives. Are you not celebrating this? Why are you not doing this? And people have, unwelcomed entries. So which I really wanted to avoid. So these are other things that you need to really consider. Are you okay to get through those pressure? Is your partner able to support you? Many cases, the partners do not contribute at home, even in US, right? So we need to make sure that the partner contributes and they continue to do that when they are in India also.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then the decision will look really bad. Like it's like everything has become on one person.
Make sure the work, as I said, is good. Right? Make sure the work is good. Make sure how much money you want. Also be realistic. Right? To be very frank, if you want to come within 10 years, unless you have a real specialty skill, you will not get the money. Right? The only reason I got it was I spent 14 years in the company and I had a really good name. I'm not a technical expert, but people knew me as a person who can get stuff done, right? In the right place, right time. So as I said, make sure you're aligned with your uh, aligned with your spouse,
Yeah.
right? Make sure you have a realistic idea on the job, what you're going to get, what you're not going to get, right? What type of company you would work for. Startups, it sounds very nice, but startup culture is very similar to Indian working culture, right? It's not very modern because people are very young. Half the startup people have not even seen, 20s, 30s, have seen nothing, right? So you expect them to work, even they're funded by Sequoia or something, they still work in Indian way only. So that is something to take care of. Why are you coming? Don't come for your parents, come for yourself. See that you will build, want to build a career or build a family or what. Figure out which city you want to stay in, right? Do you want a big city? Because many people are going to smaller cities, like go to Jaipur, Indore, Ahmedabad, and I'll work there. From there, I will do for the US. Right? And be realistic. There's one guy I spoke to yesterday. He's like, I'm going to work for Apple from here in US times. Right? I'm like, it sounds very nice to start with. First month, 6 months, or you will go. But then you can't work US time every single day. You will affect your health. You go crazy. If you're working like, 8 p.m. to, or I don't know, 2 a.m. at night. So have some of those clears. Make sure if you want to bring money back to India, then live that lifestyle there. Right? My friend wanted to buy a big house in India. So they saved a lot of money. Everything was second hand in their house. Right. So they could throw everything away when they came. Saved the money, came, bought a home, staying in Pune nicely with their parents.
Yeah.
Right? So have your priorities very clear on what you're doing. Talk a lot, right? We used to talk a lot, we used to fight a lot, but we spoke about everything. Right? I told my family, we spoke as small as things is that we will buy a scooter when we go first for the first 6 months. We will not buy a car. Right? Even we buy a car, we will buy 5 lakh car, the starting car. At that time, it was 5 lakh. Now it is probably 7-8 lakhs.
Yeah.
We buy the cheapest car, even though we could have afforded a BMW with the work we had. Like, let's buy the cheapest car. Let's make sure we keep our expenses less for start. Then we will expand.
And another thing is the time you get back, right? In US, most of our travel would go to India. Now we travel within India where we actually use our vacations. So that is the best part.
Yeah, we actually got more vacations in India than in the US.
Yes, it is affordable, right? In US, even with a good salary, I don't think, as we said, right, we have to plan a trip to India, then we have to save these many $1,000, right, to come here. But when I do it in India, right, every I mean, I think we did that also in US, where we will take a weekend and go to Big Bear or some place, that is there. But here it's more easier for some reason. At least it's a mental block, I guess. It's more easier to go travel and, at the same time enjoy the company of your family, take them along, or no, don't take them along, just go alone. So it's really good that way. Yes.
And you need some luck, Avinash.
Yeah.
You need some luck at the end to
Yes.
work out, everything to work out, right? For us, thankfully, it worked out. We're enjoying it. The other thing that worked out, we got our green card after we came back.
Yeah. Okay.
It was in the same company. I went back to the old company. They had it going. Suddenly was like, come take. Now we have it. Now other challenge, how to keep it.
Yeah.
So my son is American, right? So now how do we keep it? And so we are trying to work on that as well. So we go every year. We enjoy. It is my second home. It is my second. Like I call it my karma home.
Yeah.
Right? I spent 14 years, right? I have so many friends there, so many. And my son was born there. I met my wife there. Like some amazing memories. Like every time I go, I'm like, I miss this. Like Mexican food as an example.
Yes.
Right. She misses national parks, right? The greenery, right? Sometimes when you find really nice people, they are very nice. So,
yeah.
So anyways.
No, that's great. Yeah. I'm sure, as we go through this in the different phase of the life of the journey, right? I think you experience different things and just have to make sure your priorities are clear and what you need in the life at that given point of time, and then make a decision. I think that's a key thing.
Yeah.
So
and make a decision such that you make a decision in a position of strength. I was in a position of strength when we make decisions. My company said, why the heck are you going? I'm going to promote you next month. Like, her job was like, why are you leaving? You're such an important person. So we are like, but many people, sometimes they have to unfortunately come because they got laid off, or, job is not working, creating growth. So try to do it at a position of strength when you can.
Yeah.
Always something you can't control, but that would be also helpful. You can make the right choice.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Radhika and Venkat, for taking the time and sharing your journey with us. A lot of valuable information. Good luck with everything. And thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash.
Have a good day. Bye.